Welcome to today's panel session on the future of talent, challenges and opportunities. My name is Vivian and I am honored to be the moderator for today's panel session. Today's panel session brings together two experts who will be sharing their insights and experience, which may help all of you who are watching to better face the new workplace and talent landscape that is today. Here we have Sulakshmi. Sulakshmi has a very strong credentials as a talent expert, having held leadership positions in DG Telecommunications, Zalora, and Taylor's Education Group. Her expertise lies in the full spectrum of people solutions. She is also a member of Harvard Business Review Advisory Council. Thank you for being here with us today, Sulakshmi. It's really an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Vivian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Here we also have Karthik Siva here with us. Karthik is the chairman of Global Entrepreneur Exchange, who has mentored over 1,000 CEOs and entrepreneurs on areas such as strategy, leadership, and innovation. Karthik has advised governments, regulators, global brands, and SMEs across Asia Pacific, US, and the UK. Thank you for being here with us, Karthik. It's a pleasure to have you here. Now, I'm going to start off with the first question for today's panel. There are significant and even radical social, demographical, and technology changes that seem to have altered the workplace and talent landscape globally, especially post-pandemic. Is the workplace as we know it broken?
I wouldn't go so far as to say workplace is broken, but there is something missing. So inflation has raged, and then we've had supply chain crisis, and the pandemic topped it all because of, whatever happened due to COVID. Everybody suddenly started working from home, and loss of loved ones, and, the stress of the pandemic. But among all of this, there was also a silver lining. And the silver lining was that work from home was legitimized, because I think a lot of, I would say, activists in the workplace had been trying to lobby for, work from home, flexibility, but it wasn't happening. Policies were in place, but again, organizations were finding it very difficult to implement it. So among all the not so happy things I mentioned, there was this very happy thing that happened where work from home and flexibility got legitimized. Just like any other evolution that happens, we are improvising. With every prototype, we get better. But then I think as we started, as things started opening up, workplaces started calling people back, the missing element is how have organizations and people adapted to this change, right? And why do I say it's missing? Because in this process, what we have lost is that sense of belonging and connection with the organization. And I'm saying it both through data and through my experience. I've studied the engagement data across different organizations and looked at benchmarks. Engagement scores globally have dropped across organizations. Is it because people are working remotely? Could be, that is a hypothesis. Or is it because we don't really know how to manage people when they're working remotely? So I think if the short answer to your question is, it may not be broken because there are lots of good things that have happened, but there's something missing. And that missing piece is our ability to build connection and belonging for the people in the new world.
To me, the workplace is not only broken, it is irrevocably broken in the paradigm in which it existed. There is one trend which has been consistently showing up. At least 50+% are disengaged, and another 20 or so % are actively disengaged. What do you mean by actively disengaged? It is people feel almost as worse or even worse than being unemployed. They love work, human beings can be energized by work, inspired by work, right? But they do not like the workplace. If you want to dig in and look at what are probably some of the fundamental drivers creating this, to me the first very big driver, if you may, is a paradigm that pretty much began after the Second World War. It was command, control, and comply. An employee is very much controlled over, supervised, if you may, and given very little autonomy. What we're really doing is we are transforming adults into children. To me, the second driver, which I think is an offshoot of this command, control, comply paradigm, is organizations have adopted a very specific approach to motivation, to rewards and incentives. The primary paradigm is a carrot and stick, right? If you do this, you get that. If you do not do that, you're not going to get that, right? Now, this particular strategy, from a science standpoint, fundamentally it does not work with several kinds of professions, occupations, and tasks. Sam Glucksberg, I hope I've got the pronunciation right. He did this study where he tested two groups, okay? A fairly complex task, and one group, he said, look here, you're going to make so much of money if you do this within this time, and you're going to make 3-4x the money, the dollar value, if you do it faster, right? So it was purely incentive. It's dollar and cents, right? And then he gave the second group the same task, no incentive, but he told them, you guys can set the norms and set the rules, right? And you know what? They did it much faster. In fact, when an incentive or reward was given for creative, complex, cognitive tasks, the performance fell and the creativity got stifled. To me, the third driver is this. In the workplace, we measure a lot of economic metrics, productivity metrics, right? Performance metrics, but we never measure well-being. John Clifton, Gallup, he's been drumming this for a while, and they even set up this huge big study where they are measuring how people feel around the world. I think 150 countries or something like that. I think corporations, your biggest asset, in fact, often your only asset is your employee well-being, because well-being has a direct impact on productivity, on performance, and something you said, which is engagement.
I think both of us are making the same point, but the way we are viewing it is different. So for me, I would look at it as an evolution of workplace where things which were, kind of subliminal have come to the surface, where people are talking about it in the last few years.